This is all that remains of a small town in Morocco's high Atlas Mountains, the epicenter of Friday's quake, the worst to hit this North African nation in decades. It took just 30 seconds when the earth shook late at night to wrought death and destruction, a cataclysm no one here will forget. And this was the Souss Valley, some 60 kilometers south of Marrakesh, where the army and emergency services are not only recovering the dead, but also searching for possible survivors trapped under tons of rubble. No mechanized help here, they're using shovels and bare hands. While the death toll rises, they're clinging to the hope that there are people, perhaps whole families, still to be saved. For those no one can help now, graves are being dug, a scene repeated many times in this remote region where electricity has been cut and food and water is in short supply. This man says, all of us living in the village have lost our homes. As you can see, the people here today have lost someone. Someone has died in every family, he said. In Marrakesh last night, many frightened families spent the night in the open air. Some had lost their homes, others fearing their houses with cracked walls and roofs might collapse if there's another tremor. Look where the people are sleeping, she says. There's no help for us. And he says, our houses are cracked. They could fall down at any moment. Arise News acquired footage moments after the quake struck Marrakesh.
It's very strong movement of the earth. The earth moves strongly, very strong, and you feel it. And you feel it, and the building are like this, moving from the right to the. Yes, very strong, yeah. And a lot of people are very afraid, and a lot of people running, a lot of people they don't know what's happening, a lot of people shocked. It's okay because I think because you can look all around you, lots of buildings are not destroyed, and that's the most important. There is not very large. Voilà, des dégâts.
Will Marrakesh recover from this?
I guess not much time. I guess not much time. Few months like that.
Aid agencies here say there's only a short 24 to 48 hour window for those buried under rubble to be rescued. Meanwhile, the King, Mohammed VI, has called for 3 days of national mourning for the dead. John Cookson, Arise News, Marrakesh, Morocco.
And John Cookson joins us now live from Marrakesh for more on this. Good to have you with us, John. You've been out and about in the old city today. What's happening there?
Afternoon, guys. Well, it's a very tense situation still in the Medina area, which is where I am at the moment, next to the main square, the 1,000-year-old square that's been rocked to its very foundations. And it's the randomness of the destruction which is the most surprising thing here. You can walk down one little alleyway. As you may know, this area is teeming with alleyways and short streets and tiny shops. You can walk down one of these and then there's nothing, everything's fine. You go just meters away and the whole place has fallen down. The main square a short time ago was empty. I've never seen it like that before. Ever. It's normally teeming with bric-a-brac stores and fortune tellers and acrobats, fire eaters and that kind of stuff. There's none of that today. There's a lot of tourists wandering around, wondering what the heck is going on, wondering whether to stay or whether to go. But most of the shops in the area are closed for the first time in decades. And if you talk to the Moroccan people, I mean, they're just in a state of shock about what's happened. The other thing that struck me walking around today is that you see in some little alleyways and huge cracks in the walls of homes and small bridges. if there's another quake, and there were reports today of tremors in Marrakesh, although I didn't feel them myself, but another big quake will bring the whole lot tumbling down. I mean, the job facing the authorities here is absolutely huge, because they've not only got to clean up the streets that are filled with rubble, but also check all the buildings, the hundreds of thousands of buildings in Marrakesh that may well have been affected by this quake, because if there's another one, and there could well be, heaven knows what the destruction will be.
All right, John. The worst hit areas is about 60 kilometers south of Marrakesh. Are rescuers getting through to that place at the moment?
The Red Crescent have got people in already. Other major world agencies are working on it, and the agencies say, this is going to take weeks and months to get the right sort of aid to the people, because first they've got to get into the remote region, and I'm going down there tomorrow myself, but I've been told by the driver that we're going to have difficulties because the roads are covered with boulders and rocks and rubbles. The aid agencies have got to get in, they've got to make an assessment, talk to the people, find out what they need, because just rushing generators in and heavy lifting equipment, it may not be appropriate for that area. But certainly it seems from the footage that I showed in my report that people are using bare hands and shovels to try to get to those who are trapped. Maybe heavy lifting equipment is needed, but no one knows for sure until aid agencies get in there and see what exactly is needed.
Indeed, John. Now, world reaction has been understandable, which is sympathy. Do the Moroccan people appreciate that? And has the government officially requested for international help?
They have in some cases, although France surprisingly said today that they're waiting to hear from the Moroccan government on exactly what they need. And that goes back to what I was saying a few moments ago. They have to assess what they actually need from the outside world. President Joe Biden was one of the first to send his sympathies and saying he was deeply sad, as was President Tinubu of Nigeria, sent his condolences last night. President Putin said that Russia feels the pain of the Moroccan people, and President Zelensky also sent condolences, also President Xi of China. It's all very well, and I'm sure the Moroccan people appreciate that. But if you talk to the guys, the men, women, and children in the park not far from where I am, who are too scared to go home, it frankly doesn't mean a lot. They want their homes, or they want their homes repaired or put into some other kind of situation where they can live their lives, because many of them have lost their homes. So all this international sympathy is okay to a degree, and of course appreciated. But what people need is help. They need somewhere to live. Those who've lost their homes, they need to be fed. So it's a bigger problem than sympathy.
All right. What are the aid agencies saying about the task ahead of them?
They're saying that it's going to take weeks and months, rather like the Turkish catastrophe earlier this year in February. They've got to get into these remote places, and that area of the high Atlas Mountains I actually know reasonably well. I spent some time trekking there many years ago. It's an area which is huge. It's mountainous, of course. And it's very warm, very hot during the day, and very cold at night. And there are boulders, as you can see in that footage there, on the route along the way. And the aid agencies, with frankly limited resources, have to try to get to every village. And there are many villages still cut off that no one really knows what's happened there. It's just the sheer scale of things is the awesome part of all this.
Indeed. Many thanks for your perspective on the aftermath of the Morocco quake. John Cookson there, live in Marrakesh. Good to have you.